Welcome to the Nameless Block. I'm your host, Kyle Berkeley, aka KB, aka Dr. Kyle, aka Slope the Pisces, aka insert whatever name you want to. Um, Glad to be back with you all again. Another day, another week. We're rocking and rolling. We have now closed out the whole East Coast book tour, and as you can see, we're walking into a real awesome season. We're walking into the fall season, and with the fall season, we walk into the holiday rollout. And in the middle of the holiday rollout is going to be the release of the newest project underneath Bold Print Publishing, which is The Union. So I am looking forward to sharing that with you all when that as that comes out. We're getting close to that, so you're going to see the trailers for that and more publicity around the Union. Meanwhile, we're still rocking and rolling with the Wake, the Void, and the Legacy. Again, thank you to everybody who came out to all the events, starting with Massachusetts and making its way all the way down to South Carolina, and then coming right back here to Baltimore. Um, be on the lookout though, because there are some dates set up for Georgia. There was a signing that was supposed to happen in Atlanta, and things happened. There was a mixture between when it was originally set up with the original publisher of The Void, and because of how the distribution went, we had to make some changes, and then we switched everything over to Bold Print for The Void. Um, some of those things turned into question marks, and then it was they set a date. Then there was some issues with the date that they set. So now we're just waiting to get a new date. So that could either be part of the holiday rollout, or my goal is to being the beginning of next year when we start announcing the next tour. That's going to be a part of that tour docket, which I'm thinking I'm leaning towards that one, just because the holiday rollout. I think I want to keep it really close in the DM. Well, we're trying to keep it close in the DMV area. I do know that there's a whole thing with Yonkers, New York, with me going up there or signing up there. So, so aside from Yonkers, New York, it's going to be pretty local with DMV, and I might go back up to Philly again, and I might actually be going to Massachusetts again. So you never know. Just have to wait for the finalization for the holiday rollout, which is great. But yes, you guys did hear me correctly a few seconds ago. There is talk of a West Coast book tour, and by West Coast, Texas is included. So it's going to be some Midwest as well. So we're just trying to get some things set in stone before we publicly announce everything with that. That being said, this is a great time right now with these books, with these reviews. Award season is going on right now. I'm still in the running for the Baltimore Crown. That being said, please get out there, vote, vote, vote. Go to the Baltimore Scene.org. I'm right down there. Go down there under writer/author. Please put my name in. You put in for any of the books, for the Void, for the Legacy, or for the Wait. You can put in anything that you like that I've been doing. Um, Whether it's just you love the storytelling, like the dynamics between Tiffany and how Tiffany interacts in the world, the dynamics between Hakeem and Jamar, even Marshawn Bell. I get a lot of compliments on the writing of Marshawn Bell, and there's two different versions of Marshawn Bell, I should point out, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it, but the version of Marshawn Bell that you get um, from beginning to almost the last chapter of The Void, that version of Marshawn is the one that I can't, a lot of people have raved about because they like the idea of how I wrote the antagonist and how you could easily hate everything the antagonist did, but agree with everything the antagonist did at the same time, if given the same um, set of circumstances. And it's so realistic, his set of circumstances. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but I am very, very grateful for the love that people have shown in return for the writing of Marshawn and the writing of Hakeem and Jamar and the writing of Tiffany Gibbons. Even the dynamics between Sasha and Tiffany, I think that is one of the strongest points of The Void. Is just their dynamic. Because coming from the wake, you see Sasha did lose her son. In the second chapter, I'm not spoiling anything. It's a real big catalyst for the wake, actually. And that momentum carries over into The Void, and with Tiffany losing her daughter Kenya, um, even though they have been friends for a long, long time, it's like that's one thing that brought them closer, but also something that kind of tears them apart, just because both of them lost their apartment. That they were living inside of public housing, and they both lost their apartment because of Titan Industries purchasing an apartment and displacing everybody. And Tiffany inheriting the home from her grandmother, and Sasha basically was in the process about to be street homeless after losing her son Tyrone to a shooting. It 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 did something to Sasha. Like the grief part is a lot for her, and it's their dynamic, because the way how Sasha begins to look at life and look at her relationship with Tiffany, it it's unexpected, but it's still expected. If that makes sense. And if you don't know what I mean, please pick up The Void. First chance you get, you'll definitely understand what I'm talking about, and you'll be happy to see something, to read something like that. I said see because there have been a lot of discussions and conversations around um, the live action piece, and it's picked up a lot more recently. And again, I'm very grateful to be at the Black Mall on this past Sunday. Um, some of those, one of those dialogues that was going on came back up again while I was at the Black Mall, completely unexpected, and kind of just like fell in my lap. So we'll see where things go, because there's some other players on the table and some things I have to do legally to protect everything in this process. So please, by all means, when you get a chance, pick up The Wake, pick up The Void, pick up The Legacy. They're on Barnes and Noble, they're on Amazon, any place that you could get books at, you could purchase it. Also, check out kylesberkeley.com. If you want to purchase a book from off the website there, you can, by all means. And I can't stress this enough because this means a lot. Please leave a review when you purchase these copies. That being said, let's talk about some fun stuff. I have been watching the series Loki, season 2 on Disney Plus. That's been I really enjoy the Loki series. Season 1 was great. I loved how they introduced King the Conqueror with He Who Remains. I like how they're following that same coattail. I like how it looks like they're trying to play with a Sylvie redemption arc in the show. For those who haven't seen the season so far, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It's a fun watch. And I do like how they're trying to take on like the true crime area. And for somebody who's writing fictional true crime stuff, it's kind of cool to see. Also, I will say, actually, I'm gonna wait till I finish talking about Loki and the next subject before I get into the true crime piece with the books. So, not trying to spoil anything. It's 2 episodes out, and it's real fun to jump into. Mind you, just the second season, so it's 2 episodes out in the second season. By all means, please check out the first season of Loki. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. And what else was I gonna say? So the next part I was going to say was about the Will and Jada situation. I really wanted to stay away from it, and something hit me last night while I was at work, and I was listening to some people, I guess, make jokes about it, and I sat back and I thought, And I was like, dude, I just can't find myself in a place of finding this hilarious or finding it funny. I find it more sad because I look at Jada Pinkett Smith as a queen. She's a black queen, just like I consider Will a black king, just like I have considered Kanye West a black king. And I've considered countless other people um, of our race, like Jonathan Majors, when he went through what he went through, he's still one of us, right? And I think I mentioned Jonathan Majors before on one of our Nameless blogs, so I won't go into too much detail about that. But with the whole Will and Jada thing, I think there's a lot of hurt going on there, and there's a lot of unresolved things that are going on in that relationship that we just don't publicly know about. And while it's very fun to look at memes about it or to make jokes about it, there's something off there. There's something definitely off. This was definitely a definition of black love in the early 2000s, for years up until the whole situation between she and that whole entanglement thing. And then that's when it became a running punchline, sadly. And I don't know Will or Jada personally. I kind of do wish I knew Will because I probably could have had this TV or movie deal done a long time, but I don't. So that's that. But I do think that there's a lot of hurt, and there's something there that needs to be tackled and addressed soon. And the more that the public knows or is involved, the sadder it gets, and the more it looks like a running punchline instead of looking at as somebody who's hurting from something that are not even privy or have no idea what we're looking for or understanding. Because there's definitely some compensation for some hurt going on in the midst of all of that. Even with these stories and these allegations, and then when you're trying to put two and two together, it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. And then that's when it turns into the jokes because you're putting two and two together and saying that this don't make sense, which can be considered delusional behavior, which I don't want to say that because I don't know these people personally, and I'm not getting paid to be their therapist at the moment. But if they do want a therapist, I tell you, Dr. Kyle Berkeley is an amazing therapist, very proven and very trained. Please, by all means, we could do it off the books. We could do this completely cash for with cash, and we don't have to involve insurance companies. So, holla at your boy, Dr. Kyle Berkeley, therapist at large, and I'm licensed. So, that being said, I just want everybody just to really think about these things, like especially when we see people like Kanye, a person who I love, I admire. I mean, dude did college graduation, college dropout. Well, he did dropout, late registration, graduation. I mean, those three albums alone were top tier, like just some next level. The production, Kanye's writing, his delivery on bars, his creativity, and those three albums was great. Then you had Heartbreaks and 808s, which I mean that was low key. Kanye West and Andre 3000 and Love Below. Um, Speaker, no, he had Love Below. Those two, I really think gave the blueprint for Drake. If you go back and listen to Heartbreaks and 808s, and then listen to Love Below, and you go listen to a lot of Drake's work, you can see where the inspiration really started from all of that. And Kanye's production ability and his business ability is amazing. And he like there's no doubt about it. He legit is a musical genius as a person who did used to produce music, and currently I have some production inside of a horror movie. Yeah. Um, yes, there's a horror movie coming out that I have four, five, or six tracks being featured, like basically scored in that movie. So shouts out to me, right? And so just thinking about that, right? So staying on topic, not trying to go too far off topic, but it's really sad when you think about these are people who aren't really in bad drama typically, and for whatever foreseen reason, over the last year, they've been in the middle of a lot for the last calendar year, we should say. I'm not just trying to say 2023. I'm going to include 2022 as well, right? So let's just go. It's October. Let's just go from June of last year till today of this year, right? So October 17th of this year. These are people who have been very successful, typically out of drama. You don't see them locked up or anything like that. And they've been in the middle of a lot of controversy. And then that controversy turns into being the butt of several jokes. And that those several jokes don't stay inside of a certain community, they expand into bigger communities because of how much and what these people mean to a community. So it's just like one of those things. Like, and I don't look at this as an opportunity to find something to laugh at. I look at it as an opportunity to look at how can we grow from, right? Because as a people, we do look for somebody to emulate. We do look for somebody to say, "Hey, look, this is an idol for us. This is something that we should base our life on, our life and our life on. This is something that we strive towards, like goals. Like you've heard the term marriage goals or couples goals or whatever like that. Like, yeah, it's true. Like even with Kanye, like Kanye wasn't rapping about robbing, shooting, and doing thug stuff. Kanye was rapping about his regular life. You know, he wasn't capping. And his production was amazing. It took him in places that as producers, we only could wish to go. And looking at what happened with Kanye, with how he voiced his truth and his opinion, and what happened, it's sad. Even now, he has a new album and he's trying to shop around. This is a guy who has sold multi-platinum albums, produced multi-platinum work, and now is being given the the speak to me at the door treatment, which is sad. And I mean, it's weird because when you go back and listen to Kanye West, so I was at a wedding. I was in a wedding, I should say, weekend before last, and there was so many songs that were played that were produced by Kanye West, and I'm in my back of my mind, I'm chuckling because I'm looking at everybody dancing. I'm like, you're the same people who bashed you, and you're dancing to his music, but you don't even know he produced this. That's funny. That is funny. And everything that he said, I don't agree with. I will say that, and that's fine because I think I stated this before. I think I stated this before on this platform. I actually might have said this on Diamond K's thing, so I'll say it on here. I could not agree with something you say, but I could respect you for having an independent opinion. What I don't respect is when people don't have an independence of opinion and they just go along and just say yes to everything. That's something that's troubling to me. So while I could not agree with everything Kanye West says, I could totally agree with him for having his own steadfast opinion. And the piece that was on Diamond K that I spoke about with the difference of opinion was, I think he released something like 6 rappers that um, have publicly stated that they were going to vote for the former president Donald Trump in the upcoming election. And there's a lot of uproar about that. Like, oh, how can you, as a black person, vote for this and think about who you're influencing? And I go, yes, think about who you're influencing. You're influencing people to have the right to have free thought. A person who has held elected office for 8 years, myself, um, will tell everybody when I was in office and we were trying to get a whole thing about voting going on and voter education and trying to turn out votes for the 2014 or 2016, I think it was 2016 election. And they wanted this whole slogan about vote blue. And my beef with that was, why should somebody vote blue? Not that they shouldn't, but why? Right? And I couldn't get an answer to why. And that's where my problem lies. I shouldn't have to vote for a candidate just because my culture just tells me to vote for a candidate, because we have independent thinkers in our culture. We have a lot of real deep thinkers in our culture. Sadly, we do have some followers in our culture, right? And then we have some people in our culture who receive dollars from other cultures to speak to our culture about what our culture should do. Though all those things are true. While all those things are true, I'm in a firm belief that I like the idea of an independent thinker. I like the idea of a person who can look at something, critically analyze. I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if this is for my family. And I'm going to make a decision based off of me and my family that I think could benefit our people as well, as opposed to following the crowd. When I was younger, my mom used to have the saying, over everybody's jumping off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge too? And my answer was always no. Yeah, yeah, tons of situations where there's jumping off a bridge scenarios happening, where not literally you're jumping off a bridge, but you're following a crowd and it's totally socially acceptable, right? And if you're not the person doing it, then you're the bad guy. Just like when the whole vaccine thing came out, there were people that were saying, hey, look, we're not against the vaccine. We just want more data about the vaccine. Because can this stuff cause issues with your heart rate? Can this stuff cause blood clots? Can you actually die from it? Well, those people were shut up, right? And I'm definitely not trying to go down that route because I don't want my account suspended, and the little bit of fame I do have from the work I do as an author, I don't want that derailed, right? So I'm being very careful about how I handle that. And I want to definitely point out, like, some things did come out by Pfizer, and from I think it was either NIH or the CDC, they put out information later on about some effects from some vaccines. I'm not saying which ones, and it became an issue. And from a job that I work at, I happened to have a lot of dialogue at the time with medical examiners. And while having dialogue with medical examiners, they did notice and point out certain trends. And these are people who were pro vaccination that were pointing out these trends, but these trends weren't being made public. Now, does that mean that the vaccine was a bad thing? No, no, I'm not at all saying that. Not even close. I'm not saying that because I'm scared to lose this platform that I'm on. I'm just being honest. Like, no, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. Because if there's a chance to save my mama, I'm going to take a chance to save my mom every time. Because yes, I want my mom to come over and enjoy the holidays with me every year. Like, I smoke my turkey every year on my smoker. I smoke a prime rib. Um, we have a whole big smorgasbord. We have family coming in from all the different states that come over, and we enjoy the holiday together. And so, and if the vaccine is a way for us to commune and enjoy each other, by all means, I'm not against people enjoying each other's company and having the vaccines. But what I am going to say is, it is not wrong to ask real good critical questions. That's the reason why all these sites have what's called FAQs. When you see the it says fact, it looks like it says fact, but it's FAQs, and that stands for frequently asked questions. The reason why is because everybody isn't a sheep. Everybody isn't going to just follow a crowd. Some people want to know certain things for themselves before they purchase it. There are people that sit back and look on back pages just to see, hey, look, what kind of material goes into whatever shoe you want to buy, just because it could cause some kind of allergic reaction. It could cause some issue with blood circulation and blood flow when they stand up, or it could, lots of different reasons. People research stuff, different arches of people's feet. People can research shoes for those reasons. And I don't wear polyester, right? And I look closely at the clothes I buy because I don't wear polyester, right? And if we could be critical thinking about that, we should be able to be critical thinkers about everything else, which was one of the main reasons why when I was developing the well drawing out how I wanted this Tiffany Gibbons storyline to go. All the way back at when I had finished the wait, there was a lot of dialogue between myself and my previous publisher, I should say, Cheryl Barton, who runs Pen Page Publishing, fantastic romance novel writer, a legend in her own right, um, actually a legend in every right. We had this dialogue as I was drawing it out, and I wanted to have a certain build with the story, right? Like I wanted to have Tiffany go different ways, different ways to develop herself as a character, but also develop Hakeem as a character throughout the series, right? So you have the void with the development there. You have the legacy where Tiffany is now not a victim of her trauma, but Tiffany's now more confident in who she is as a person. Her trauma doesn't define her, right? And then you get to the union where Tiffany and Hakeem are married, and then you learn there's a little bit more to marriage than saying I do, happy ever after, and sex, right? But I wanted to tell the story of what does it mean when you now have to not only deal with your family, but you have to deal with your in-laws, and you don't know or understand the drama that comes with it. So in the in-laws part, and I can give this away because this is the plot point. This is the plot of the union, basically, is Hakeem's family church is a cult. So, and Hakeem's family church does not promote free thinking and free thought. They don't even want you to question. It's what they say in the pulpit and what they say in their studies, and that's it. It's not no explanation as to why. It's more authoritarian than authoritative, right? It's not a learning atmosphere. It's a dictatorship. And I wanted to really play with that idea and just show, hey, if it's this easy to run a religious cult, and there are so many religious cults, which is a real cool thing about doing the game, um, where you slide from crime drama, all of them are crime dramas, right? So The Void is a crime drama, Legacy is a crime drama with a serial killer now, and Union, once again, we're revisiting a new serial killer, um, and we're also visiting a cult in this book. And trust me, it works. It definitely works. And while all this is happening, there becomes the idea of, well, I don't agree with this. Well, I do. This is tradition. This is what we do because this is tradition, and you don't mess with tradition. Well, it's challenging tradition always a bad thing. And there's a large train of thought of people who believe so. And some of that can be conditioned, and some of that because you could be a traditionalist. There's some things I'm traditional about. I believe that as a man, I should open up the door for at all times. I believe as a man, I should walk closer to the street when a woman will walk up the sidewalk. I believe as a man, like I believe in saying grace over my food. You know, there's some things that are definitely traditional that I strongly am. I think many people are. There are a lot of things that I do ask questions, even with the traditions that I do believe in, like not having a hat on inside or not putting your hat on the bed, things like that. There's questions as to why, right? And I think that when you shun away the why, you create a lot of problems because you either create people who resent the idea altogether of certain traditions, or you just have people that blindly follow the tradition and not realize, hey, maybe we should look a little bit more into this because the thoughts that we had 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago might not actually apply to today's day and time. So I just wanted just to plug that in as far as the independent thinking, even when it comes down to voting with the whole Diamond K comment, because I'm glad that he put it out there about the 6 rappers that had said that they were going to vote for Trump and the quote unquote backlash people had. And I always say, when you're voting for somebody, I don't care what side of the aisle you vote for, as long as you're educated and you stand firm in your belief in who you vote for, right? Because we've had some good candidates out there on both sides, and we've had some bad candidates on both sides. And lately, because we haven't challenged the established order, we just been getting what we've been having thrown at us and been told to be proud of it. And we just keep our mouth closed because now we're just conditioned to just keeping our mouth closed from having a free opinion. That's not a good thing. And do I want to stop there? No, I am going to say, again, thank you to everybody who has participated in this book tour. It has meant a lot. Um, those that have purchased The Wake, The Void, or The Legacy, please leave reviews. It means a lot. Please feel free to reach out to me on all forms of social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube. It doesn't matter. Please feel free to reach out. I'm actually not on Twitter like that. I do have a Twitter account. It is at Berkeley for Us, for with the number 4. But I'll just be completely transparent. At this point, I love Threads so much. It's going to be something dramatic for me to actually kind of move my way back to Twitter. Plus, I mean, 3 pieces of social media is enough. Also, LinkedIn. I mean, that's something. And I have this whole website to run, Bullprint Publishing itself, which we're releasing a few books next year. We have a very, very, very big spoken word artist that's going to be releasing her next book underneath Bullprint Publishing. We have another author that's going to be releasing his work underneath Bullprint Publishing. I want to actually, it's 3. There's one person which everybody from Baltimore knows this person, and we had a real good piece of dialogue on Sunday during the Black Mall. He was there, and right now we have a verbal agreement. I got to get him over the contract today, actually, for him to sign, and we're going to be moving forward with this book that he's putting out as well. And I think that's going to impress a lot of people when they see that move that Bullprint is making. On top of, at the end of next year, we're going to be releasing the final book in the Tiffany Given saga called The Transition. So this year, we're going to get the Union, and I'll be focusing on the business end of Bullprint for the foreseeable part of next year. And, you know, I'll also be writing. I'm doing some pre-prep work right now for Transition now, because just like how the Union is a pretty packed book with a lot. It's very entertaining from beginning to end, but it's packed with a lot. Definitely want to say I just look forward to everybody's responses and how everybody enjoys um, the Union, and then next year when we come back for Transition. And again, let's have grace, right? As a people, let's do something that has not been preached to us. We have been placed at odds with each other for as longer than I can remember, right? Before I was born, right? And we're divided by classism, racism, ageism, sexism, and by sexism, I even include my friends of the LGBTQ community. We're separated by so many different things, and everybody's trying to find their path, right? In a situation with people like Jada and Will, even with Kanye. Let's give some grace um, to them. Everything doesn't have to turn into be a media circus, even if it is in your face on social media all the time. Ask yourself who's putting it out there for us to consume this and be distracted from other things. There has to be some grace. There has to be some love. There has to be concern. People who have faith. There has to be some legit prayers. People who don't have faith, just legit concern. Hey, how can I reach out? How can I help? You know, or hey, I've seen this in somebody else I know. How can I reach that person that I know that see this exact behavior in another person? Because this isn't new to anybody. It's just new to these groups of people who happen to be celebrities. And I believe in building our people up, not tearing our people down. And there are a lot of people who are cultural predators and cultural vultures and can consume and visit our culture freely and just disappear into their own world and go, ha 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 ha, this was so fun. You know, as for us, we're not visitors, we're residents, you know. So, as residents of this community, I say let's have some grace, let's have some decorum. And if we have access and ability to, let's try to reach out, show love, and spread love. And again, like I stated before in the last one, um, lost a real good friend, my real good friend Will, um, and I definitely am still in mourning over the death of Will. I'm still in mourning over the death of Zandy, and I definitely want to give thoughts and prayers to both um, Kevin Brown, his family, over the death of Will, and also still mourning with Big Zandy, my godmother, Stella, and so many more that Sandy has touched. Um, even with his smile, with his personality, with his music. I am so grateful. I have two great memories with Zandy, and I'm going to end it with this. My first great memory with Zandy was back in 2011, I want to say. I was putting out this album called The Confession. So it's GMB Volume 2, The Confession, right? And I'll be the first to tell you, production wise, it was a pretty good project. Lyric wise, it needed a lot more work. It shouldn't have been put out as early as it was, but um, it had a couple hits on it, believe it or not, and I'm very glad about that. To Bring Me Down, Ain't My Baby that I did with Jamal, um, and BlackBerry iPhone, um, Got a Thing for You. There's got some bangers on it actually, and Hot Text Bang Cake. Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, it did have some bangers on it. I still say Transition was a way better album. I'll be the first to tell you that. Poe will tell you that all day long. Champion. Champion was a good track on that. It had honestly, that album had a good tracks. Now I'm thinking about it, it did. Just going back to revisit, I might go back and revisit that. I might have to go back and revisit that album. Um, but anyway, I just want to say I have two great memories with Zandy as in regards to that. Memory number one was Zandy was mentioned that he was rapping now. He wanted to rap. I had a show down at Bourbon Street. Cole Rashid, Campaign, uh, Farrah Malik. We all were there. We had the show. Had a little bit of problems at the time getting Zandy in the club. We got wound up getting Zandy in the club, and I was able to pause the show set so that way Zandy could get a good 2 minutes in freestyle, and Zandy killed it for 2 minutes straight, just on the mic, just killing bar for bar for bar for bar. And that was a packed out show. And that was my first memory of Zandy. Well, not my first memory of Zandy because I've known Zandy since he was a little kid. That was my first musical memory of Zandy. And then we were trying to figure out how can we get this guy in the booth to work on trying to build his album, because at the time we were trying to do some changes with Arsenal Records, plus my production, and in the midst of all of that, um, we started working on the profession, and Zandy was on the second track. Zandy and King James. King James, James Davis, or Jason Davis, depending on how you know him. I've been trying to find him for like the last 10 years. If you know where he's at, please tell him we're trying to find him. And Zandy, it was always, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, because we hit each other up on social media. And then time moves by, and then the sound of music changes. And then it's like, all right, well, how do we blend in with this? So, just two great memories I have with Zandy. I just wanted to share with you all. There's tons more, but I just wanted to share those two. Everybody have a great one. Again, check me out. The Baltimore Scene. Please feel free to vote. It's still nomination season. They are going to roll out the official names of the candidates for Writer / Author of the Year once that's named, and I'm on that list. Please vote for me. And again, as a people, let's practice giving each other grace. All right? Peace.